So if you want to know what operational failure looks like, just watch the background of this video. What you're looking at is a masterclass in technical debt. Welcome back to the Executive Queue. Today, we aren't just talking about video games, we're talking about how the lessons we can learn from them apply to business and organizational management. This is the second episode in a series of 3, looking at business lessons we can learn from Oxygen Not Included. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you are very interested in this, and there's a link to our Discord in the description below. So here we're looking at Oxygen Not Included. The colony is an absolute mess. There's been no planning, as per the first video, deliberately no planning, deliberately didn't know how to play the game, walking into a company without any kind of previous knowledge. So this is going to create a massive technical debt, as we have done in this video, where it's playing in the background on super speed, just cycling through. And there's generally 2 ways that a business can accumulate what we call technical debt. The first is a deliberate debt. So you've got a tight deadline, investors want to see a minimum viable product, or a client needs something shipped yesterday. They need it now, right? So your engineers or your process people, operations people, they take a shortcut. They hardcore a variable, or they skip, or in coding, they'll skip something and then you'll have spaghetti code. And then they know they're doing this and they know they're going to have to fix it later, but it's the fastest way to get the job done. It's a calculated risk, like building a temporary power generator here just to survive to cycle 5, or building the oxygen producers just anywhere just to get the air get the air purified. In both cases, you get the illusion of speed early on, but eventually you're going to have to pay the bill for that technical debt. So that brings us on to Liam here, which is the most dangerous consequence of technical debt. It's the human cost. When managers see a drop in productivity or a bad attitude, they often blame the employee. So we would be blaming Liam for having a bad attitude. Why is he turning up to work tired, hungover, or why is he annoyed? So we put him on a performance improvement plan, right? But it's not his fault. If your team is constantly putting out fires, dealing with broken tools and navigating undocumented processes or manual workarounds, they're not failing. It's the system that's failing around them. In this game, the duplicant isn't vomiting because he's a bad worker. He's vomiting because the environment I built for him is highly stressful and inefficient. In the corporate world, or whatever business world you work in, this translates to severe burnout, toxic culture, and a high turnover. You cannot expect A-tier or S-tier performance from a team forced to cooperate and C-tier infrastructure with no guidance or help. To truly understand why technical debt destroys morale like this and causes poor Liam to throw up, we need to look at a concept pioneered by Google's site reliability engineering team, which is called toil. So toil is work that tends to be manual, repetitive. It's automatable if you've got that level of technology, and it doesn't give you any enduring value within your business or your organization. So look at what the duplicants are doing now. They're running around on hamster wheels to generate the power. They're carrying buckets of water to the wrong places. They're constantly rebuilding things because I'm reacting to what it is I think I need. I don't really know. I'm buying technology that might not be relevant. This is the exact definition of toil. It doesn't scale, or it does, but not just in a linear way. If we want twice as much power, I need duplicants to run twice as long. There's no efficiency savings. There's no cost effectiveness. Nothing that you'd expect in a modern day business. So in your business, toil is the employee who spends 4 hours every Friday manually copying and pasting data from some sort of legacy spreadsheet, or doing something manually that could be automated by a macro or by implementing a better system. But for whatever reason, there's been no budget allocated to it. Either we don't have money, or we don't want to spend the money to fix this issue, which could save hours and hours and hours a week. There's something I like to call being actively lazy. So spend maybe a full working day of 8 hours, maybe spend that creating a system which will save you more than 8 hours over that next year. So when technical debt creates toil, you're effectively taking your highest paid and most creative problem solvers and turning them into basic data entry bots that could now be done by AI these days. So you strip the meaning out of their work, and then when their work lacks meaning, morale crashes, and they will probably leave the company because they see it as a pointless endeavor. Moving on to look at the wiring diagram that we've got for the current colony in its very basic state. There's lots of wiring here. It's completely pointless. Stuff's too spread out, and we're just losing a lot of energy down through the wiring. So technical debt breeds one of the most dangerous management dynamics in the corporate world, the hero anti-pattern, which is why we've got the skill set in the bottom left here. So when a system is built purely on shortcuts and duct tape and random, like this absolute nightmare of a sort of power grid that we've got here, it becomes incredibly fragile. So there's no documentation, there's no standard operating procedures, so we don't know how we're meant to be building it, how we're meant to be operating it. And maybe there's just one engineer or one manager who's been at the company for 5 years and knows exactly where those electrical connections are and seems to have some sort of rationale as to why they're there. So they become the hero. Whenever the system breaks, everyone panics, calls the hero. Management praises the hero for solving some crisis at 2 a.m. to save the day. But there's a dark side to that hero culture. It's a massive organizational vulnerability. So when that hero's sick or leaves the company, then we don't have that hero anymore and no one's got any of that corporate knowledge. The hero is usually the one who built the technical debt in the first place, and now they're the only one that can actually solve it or navigate it. So they're operating at a maximum stress level, and that's bottlenecking the company's growth because they're not sharing that knowledge, they're not training people, they're not taking on new ideas. If that employee burns out and quits, or dies in this game, or becomes 100% stressed like poor Liam, then our entire operational capacity is going to drop to zero. We can see throughout this video and focusing here, there is debris all over the floor. This whole colony has got bottles over the place, sewage, water. Basically, everything's just dumped on the floor. Because I, as the manager, have shown that I don't care about the foundational cleanliness of our environment, the duplicants are perfectly content to keep making mess. So if I allow the technical debt to fester, so if I let people to not follow standard operating procedures or do emergent jobs and do panic jobs like we've got here with the digging, what is going to happen is that I'm signaling to the entire company that quality doesn't matter. It's just about get the job done as fast as possible. So why would employees stress themselves out trying to do things perfectly when the systems itself is fundamentally broken? So then we just end up in this sort of downward spiral of worse and worse SOPs, employees don't care, and there's no pride within the company. So this is where stress turns into apathy. Stress is when an employee cares too much and is overwhelmed. Apathy is what happens when they realize the technical debt is never going to be fixed. So they just stop trying. So we've just brought up the vital screen here to look at everyone's stress whilst the game still runs in the background. And the question that we have to ask is, why do these smart executives let this happen? Why do we build bases that cause our workers to stress vomit? And this mainly comes down to communication and alignment of the company's KPIs, the key performance indicators. So in Oxygen Not Included, as a player, the game incentivizes me to research the next tier of technology, to dig deeper, to find resources, to build rockets, to build computers, whatever it might be. I'm rewarded for shipping new features. No one gets a medal for refactoring a power grid. It's just all about, can I build a rocket? Can I get extra function? Can I populate the galaxy? In the corporate world, executives are awarded for quarterly revenue, new client acquisition, and features that they launch, so new innovations for the company. They're rarely incentivized for reducing server load, cleaning up legacy codes, financial savings, or improve internal operations tools. It's all about that bottom line. So it won't be put £1 million in now to save 3 million over 3 years. They just care about that quarterly return. So we push the new shiny thing and we ignore the crumbling foundations of our company, or in this case, our colony, right up until the point that the company folds or something goes wrong or everyone quits. So to conclude, I asked AI what it thinks I should do to solve my Oxygen Not Included colony problems, and it came up with the following. So structure the airflow, claim my room bonuses, sanitation and water protection, and food efficiency. And that brings us onto this diagram here, which is me effectively setting up that central corridor that the AI has suggested. And if you want to find out how this all concludes and what an efficient operation looks like, then tune in for episode 3 that will be coming soon. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Technical debt is inevitable in any growing business, but leaving it unmanaged is your choice. Fix your systems, clear the friction, and give your team the infrastructure they need to actually do their job to avoid stress and burnout like Liam. Thank you for tuning in to the Executive Queue. Please hit subscribe if you want more insights on leadership, strategy, and operations, and we'll see you in the next video. If this has interested you, please feel free to join the Discord, which is in the link below, for more discussions of this style.